and I'm Kristian from Nokia, and I'm 18 years old, and I'm participating in I'm like Nuori Kulttuuri Talks, so young associate, I think. Yes, that's in English, correct.
And I'm from Sodengla, I'm a young activist as well, and I'm also this year's young Nuori Kulttuuri.
Alright, and let's start with this first video. So it's Sanoita parempi maailma yhdessä, and it's created by Niina.
Huomenta.
Joko kahvit on keitetty?
On hyvä mieli ja hyvin menee. Me pidetään yhdessä hauskaa. Ja kovan ääneen saatetaan nauhoa. Ja ollaan kaikki ihan ereisiä. Silti ollaan kaikissa vaan arvosia. Me ei olla toisia huonompia, koska me ollaan parhaita. Toiset tykkää sähystä, joku toinen sähkö pyöräistä. Mä tykkään kuunnella läppiä, ajatustakilla äkkiä. Toiset on vähän hiljaisempi, toiset heittää enemmän riimiä. KLT on osan arvotiimi ja auttaminen on meidän tiimi. KLT on meidän tiimi ja meitä lähtee parhaat riimit. Meidän on haaveena sanota parempi maailma. KLT on meidän tiimi ja meitä lähtee parhaat riimit. Meidän on haaveena sanota parempi maailma. KLT on meidän tiimi ja meitä lähtee parhaat riimit. Meidän on haaveena sanoita parempi maailma. Kuunnelkaa KLT kertoo teille asioita, mitkä on tärkeitä meille. Meidänkin on haaveita, ajatuksia tulevaisuudessa. Minä haluaisin töihin kautta. Voisin alkaa siivoa.
No voisit tehdä kouluja.
Mä taas pitäisin kimputtoja.
Se haluttaa koe.
Mut koirat tarvii luontoa, siksi metsä pitää suojella. Me kerätään sieltä marjoja, eikä hauta nähdä roskia. Me läpätään tästä aiheesta, teidän pitää kuunnella. KLT on meidän tiimi ja meitä lähtee parhaat riimit. Meidän on haaveena sanoita parempi maailma. KLT on meidän tiimi ja meitä lähtee parhaat riimit. Meidän on haaveena sanoita parempi maailma. KLT on meidän tiimi ja meitä lähtee parhaat riimit. Meidän on haaveena sanoita parempi maailma. KLT on meidän tiimi ja meitä lähtee parhaat riimit. Meidän on haaveena sanoita parempi maailma. Hyvää yötä.
Thank you very much, Niina, for the video. It was amazing. And let's start with a warm-up question, so-called. So, first question is, how big of a role is culture and art in your life and supporting your well-being? Any thoughts? Maybe you tell about your own experiences. How important life is in your life?
I can start. I've been working as a graphic designer for 15 years, and for me, culture and art has been always really big part of my life because I've found connection and social, like friends, and most of my social life goes just about around music and art and such.
Can I quickly interrupt you? Is it okay if you say your names just during the first round when you speak, so that we know who you are?
Yes, sorry, yeah. I'm Kati-Marika, I'm from Sekasi Gaming. I work there as a developer.
Hello, my name is Niina Karttunen, and I'm music therapist and neuropsychiatric coach. And yes, music is all around and every day in my life. It's very, very important and very powerful thing. And in my work, I use every day the methods of music therapy, singing, playing, and improvising.
Hi, my name is Jasmin and I'm a student in the Southeastern University of Applied Sciences, SAC, and I'm studying social services, and I'm a youth worker. And culture has a huge part in my well-being because ever since I was a teenager, it has been a way to show my emotions and find a way through them without talking to someone and understanding my emotions and all that, so it's a big part in my life.
Hi, my name is Julka. I'm from Poland and currently I work as a volunteer in Rovaniemi Youth Services. And yeah, music and culture, but mostly music was a very important part of my life. And I have similar experiences to Jasmin's. It helped me a lot to understand and to express my emotions, and it was also a tool to come together with my friends and to find like a common language and common hobby, and it also helped a lot in my well-being. Yeah.
We could move on to the next question and start the conversation. In your opinion, what kind of culture and art do children and youth need? What would make them, what would help their well-being, and what would help them to feel better in this time of kids' mental health being kind of on the line? You'll go if you want to start.
What kind of culture and what would help young people and children feel better in those times? Well, basing on my experiences, it's mostly music, but I guess young people can already find a lot of music that help them like go through tough situations in life. But I've been also thinking about movies, like maybe it would help young people to understand and go through their difficult situations, when they would be able to see that they are not alone in this, if they could see that other people struggle with that as well. So maybe seeing this in movies would be a nice idea to see a real life situations, but yeah, different examples.
I think that, and I hope that everybody finds the best way for them to express their emotions, and maybe it's way to leave home and on room and see people with the same interests. But I hope that everybody finds a suitable way for them which suits. Not everybody the music. It's many things that you have to find. You will have to look for it.
Well, I think that theater is something that everybody should do, especially young children and kids, teenagers, because it's a way for people to learn how an emotion looks on a person, how it feels, and people, like depending on the theater group and what kind of project you're doing, you can even write your own scenes about it. You'll learn ways to show your emotion through acting, singing, writing, maybe even painting, writing a story. There's so many different ways, but I think the most important part is learning the emotions through your body and how your body reacts. I think it's something that could help a lot.
Yeah, I think, and also the point of view that not everybody has to make culture. You can also consume whatever is best for you. For me, it's music and art, creating art, listening to music and watching films, and also playing video games. I count them as culture too. So I think everybody will find a way to express or understand their feelings through culture.
I think also you can enjoy the culture even if you don't make it yourself.
That's what I've been thinking when I talk about movies. Like, yeah, you can watch something, you can watch different situations, and you can learn from them through other people's experience. But you can also learn, like in the theater groups or with any music classes or whatever it is. You can either consume or create and take experience from that.
And let's not forget about reading and books.
How do you guys think that we could better provide culture for young people? And how could we make it more accessible?
Well, I think one of the best ways to do it is to fund it. Don't cut away from culture, because there's many benefits of it. But I think we could bring culture more to schools, and not only like some reading or like learning math or science or something. I think we should learn more about culture too. And I think the best way is to bring it to school, and it's something that you have to study, you have to see, you have to do at least to some point.
Yeah, so you can try everything from as young as possible.
But I think that's a good idea to bring those in school, because everybody don't live at home or just going to school and maybe shy or something. It's difficult to go to happenings or something. So I think it's important. It comes to near you, so you have possibility to look at how it is. Is it for me or is it something else? Because maybe not necessarily you go and try something. You don't know if you like it or not, but you don't go to test it even. So you can, in school with their program, you can see how it goes. I think it's very good.
From my perspective, the culture is surprisingly accessible for Finnish youngsters already, but I work in the youth center, and I think what we could do, it could be asking for youngsters' opinion more, what they need, what they want at the very moment, what extra activities would they like to participate in, or what types and categories of culture they would like to interact more with. So I think we could engage youngsters more in planning all the programs and extra activities.
And also, like, we don't know, like, every family's situation back home. It could be regarding towards, like, having enough money or enough time that you cannot go somewhere else. So that's also why I'm sorry to bringing culture to school. And also it can be a cultural things, because even though we live in Finland, there's plenty of people living here who are not like Finnish, and they have different cultures. So it could be like a thing that you're not allowed to leave your home to a hobby or something. So I think it would be important to bring it to school also because of that.
Okay, next question. So, how can culture and art be used in children and youth services?
Oh, well, at my work with, for example, I work in the internet, in Discord. It's really easy to access different kinds of things because at our service, kids and young adults, they like to share their art, for example, and get inspiration from that, whether it's art, music, or like basic big art or photography or anything like that. So that's a really good way to encourage also kids to share their work. And I would really like on the internet and social media, it's really easy to share your work and therefore get some feedback. Either way, it's good or bad.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Does it work? So, how can culture and art be used in children and youth services?
Well, I think an easier question would be, how can you not use? Because there's so many different ways to use it. And there's many of things that people don't even realize that is culture. For example, music, somebody might be like, oh, is music culture? Is dance a culture? Like a part of culture? And so I think there's unlimited amount. And it's such a good tool to use in your work that it would be kind of stupid to not use it in a way. But yeah, for example, I like to do this type of photography work in the nature, for example, making your own portrait from the nature's material is a form of art, making a self-portrait. And also you can make a picture with how are you feeling today, either choose a picture or postcard or try it yourself and then tell about it. And that's a really easy and simple and a quick way, and it doesn't really take too much resources or show with your body and or make a pose that looks like you're feeling today. It's acting. So there's plenty of ways.
I don't know actually answer for that, but in my work in therapy and coaching, I try to wake up youngsters to how look how some things really are, or looking for information and what is happening in the world, and wake up to interest to do things.
I think Jasmin is so right, because there are unlimited options and it's even hard to choose something particular. But what came to my mind was that except exposing young people to culture, I think it would be very useful to encourage them to discuss it a bit more, because I don't know, for example, watching theater play or watching a movie could not be enough. Maybe it would be good to encourage them to talk about it later, about their thoughts and experiences during watching the movie or the theater play, for example, or discussing what kind of emotions a particular song or concert wakes up.
Why do you think art and culture are used so little in welfare work? Now we're talking about youth services and child protective services, and well, I suppose all kinds of other services as well. Why is culture not used?
I personally think that usually when people work for a long time in a field like social services or youth work or something, they get kind of tired of the work because it's even though the culture would help you and make the work easier for you too, people might think it's easier to not to have any culture in the work field. So it could be laziness too, or it could be just people not knowing what is culture and how can you show and use culture in your work. And yeah, so it just could be just like, I don't know the word in English, but like not knowing, that could be also the reason.
It would be very stupid to not use the culture because there is not so many possibilities to have a free culture experience. For example, the library, so they have this e-services now, and you can, if you can check out what there is, so you can use culture very many ways for free.
Could it be also that the person who is working with the kids might have not have the cultural experiences themselves, so it's not they're not used to using or consuming culture. That could be also the reason why people don't use it so much.
Also, they can think that I can't sing, or I can't play, or I can paint good enough, so I don't do that. I don't tell them, or they don't know that I can't, but that's not true, because everybody can do something, or just don't have to necessarily sing, you can hear or play some singing somewhere. But that it can be the thing that why don't use the culture, because I don't can good enough do those, or it's new, or I can't use the computer or something. But it's very shame.
What's something that maybe you would have needed when you were younger or growing up that could be cultural, or something that you would like to see youth appreciate more, or you would like youth work or social work to utilise with kids?
Sorry for starting again. I feel like I would wanted to know more about wording my feelings or how to write them, because now at an older age I can see that I was writing a lot of my feelings down on paper, and I wish I would have known like what it is and what it means to write them down and what's the best way, even though I feel like nowadays I don't write that much. I prefer painting and music, but back then it would have been nice to know how to word it, like personally.
I can really relate to that, even though I come from an absolutely different background, because I come from other countries, so it's hard for me to talk about Finnish youngsters. But when I was younger, I missed the same thing. I missed kind of emotional education, because all of my emotions were like completely, I don't know, crazy to me. I didn't know them, I didn't understand them. So it was hard from that point of view. So it would be nice to know some ways, but I would also appreciate some places to spend my free time in, because I came from rather small town, so we didn't have a place that we could hang out in. It was rather particular activities once or twice a week, but otherwise we didn't have a place where we could spend time together just like that. So I missed kind of space, like safe and neutral space for that.
Well, I also can relate a bit to that, because I came from a really small town and we didn't have any like youth services there. But for me, it has always been really easy to express myself in forms of different kind of arts, writing and stuff. But we never had any place to go. But I don't. But through internet, kind of the world opened to me through that, and I got to know there that there are similar people to me, and we could share our things. So maybe it would have been easier if there was a space where I could have gone, but I don't know if I missed anything, because I kind of like being up by myself.
No, I'm much older than you, but I had many difficulties in my youth. But I think the culture, the playing, singing, and painting, and many things was quite early important to me, and it was kind of difficult because I felt I was very different from other same age children. It was difficult. I was also in a small town, so it was quite difficult to find friends who think quite the same. But also I forget the question.
Also, I want to come back to the part of having a place to experience and see and make art. I really agree with that, because like the only place that I could do it was either home or at school. And at home, we didn't have too much money, so I didn't really have any appliances to do it. Like I had a pen and paper and maybe a few colored pens, that's it. And in school, yeah, we did have those different stuff to do art and culture, but there was the pressure of being in school. And for me, I struggled with school, so school was a really difficult place for me to be. So I think a place where, like maybe a youth clubhouse or something, where you can do art for free would be, or culture for free would be really nice, like some kind of like a crew for young people to do different stuff and experience new stuff. And in the beginning of this conversation, somebody said that there is like a, like you don't know if you like something. So it would be really good if it was like some kind of a club or something that you try different things. Because at least in Mikkeli it seems like it's you either dance, you either sing, play something, or act. It's nothing in between, or like all of them. So you have to choose, and at a young age, it can be really difficult, especially if it comes around the topic of money. Because if you choose, oh, I want to try to play the guitar, and your parents spend all of their money for a guitar and you end up not liking it, you feel really bad, and you feel like you have to like this, and it can take away from the experience of the culture. So, yeah.
But nowadays you can learn in internet playing guitar. It's cheaper. Now, this to place to do things, that's been ages the problem. I think young people need a place where they can quite freely and safe to try different things. That has been many years, many decades now maybe.
Yeah, and I feel sad because at least in Helsinki, I think that they're closing a lot of youth places at the moment, and it's really sad because it's always about the money. And the city doesn't have any money to keep up the places, which are really important to people who have found their way to the places and all this.
Well, you pointed that out really well. Have you noticed any cities or any places that have excelled in providing this culture and art in, well, just providing for people, maybe for free, maybe for small fare? Have you noticed this in some parts? Maybe not in Finland, maybe some other places.
Could you repeat the first part of the question?
Yes, sure. So, have you noticed that in some places, could be outside of Finland, abroad, some cities, regions that have excelled in providing culture and art for children and youth, for example?
So in Aarhus, in Denmark, where I visited with a group of young influencers, or you use a different word, young activity? What did you use the word?
Do you mean culture or?
No, what about that?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, young influencers, I'll go with that. So when I was part of that, we visited Aarhus in Denmark, and there was this whole community of like people doing different forms of culture and art, and it was so beautiful how like everybody came together around the topic of just being together and creating different cultures and or cultural stuff. And yeah, it was like a I don't know the word, like a factory type of place, which there was like really not anybody living there, and it was out of the city. But these young people had created their own places in there. One did some pottery, one did some paintings, one made some different sculptures or anything. And there was even this one cafe around there, which was revolving around like volunteering and creating culture, and they had movie nights and different like galleries in there. So I think that was something that has worked like abroad. But in Finland, even though you just said that in Helsinki they're shutting down these places, but every time when I visit Helsinki or read online about their possibilities, all the things they can do there, I feel kind of jealous, even though I'm not from a too small of a town. I'm from Mikkeli, which is it's like middle size. We have plenty of things, yeah, but not as much. And like there's such a big variety in Helsinki and like around that capital area. So there.
I really like to point out how Helsinki has everything. I'm jealous as well. I'm from a small town in Sirkkala, up north, where you can choose between dance, and dance. You could also play an instrument, but hey, who wants to do that when the teacher's not too nice? And there's only one. I've come across lots of projects that can be utilised, like Erasmus+, and things like this. Young activism group that we've had going with Nuori for quite a while has been a great way to activate young people and immerse them in some culture. Anyway, that's what I've heard from the young people who have been involved. We could move on to the next question then. Well, apparently our next question would be, what did you think of the discussion? But
We have one more. We just have to read this one.
have you read that?
No, it's the first thing.
Well, if we have another question, then I'll read it. How could the thresholds for inclusion in culture and art be lowered in child welfare and work? Or youth work? That was unfair, I will repeat. How could the threshold for inclusion in culture and art be lowered in child welfare work and youth work? So again, going back to how can we provide culture in youth work and in child services?
Well, I think what Jasmin said in the beginning, it's money. It's mostly money because there's so many people, like so many youth workers with ideas, with a lot of energy and creativity, and they are so committed to what they do. But they are often, like I can see that in my work, that they are limited by the funds or the organizational possibilities, but yeah, there are ideas, there are people committed to that, and I think money is what they need to provide the youngsters what they need, and to, I don't know much about the child protection services because I don't work there, but I can speak for the youth services. It's like there are people who could and want to do a lot and include youngsters more and expose them to culture in different ways.
That's the thing that I was going to say. But also give information about what we were talking about in the beginning, that culture isn't just going to art shows or museums, but it's all around, like to make people understand that it can be almost everything that you see, and you can do, and you have choices. Spread the information.
I think we should and could teach our youth workers and all the workers within the field about different possibilities and different types of culture and educate them about it and have it included in our studies. I feel like that in my studies I have been provided loads of different elements of culture and ways to use culture in my work, but I do find that in some schools they don't use it, and I think it's a shame because how will the youth learn or kids learn about these things if the people who are raising them and helping them with their life, if they don't know about it, because they look up to the people who are helping them, and if they don't know, it must be much more like weirder and am I the odd one out here because I want to see culture? Is it forbidden for me? So I think educating the workers more is the way.
Yes, I think that also with money and also the time, that also possibility to stop, take few deep breaths or something, that also many times maybe think that there's no time. I have so hurried to do everything, and there are so many possibilities to, so don't want to concentrate for one thing.
So I would say also, and also the time to listen what the young people want to say, and listen really, so understand what they are saying. And not just the conversation, also do something, not only talk or do things that really happens, not only to talk.
I was also thinking about exploring internet more as a way to reach young people, because this is the space that like all of us probably spend quite a lot of time in, and maybe it could be the way to expose young people to culture more, both through consuming and creating.
And I also feel like we as workers, we need to push culture. Like, if our bosses or somebody says, okay, we don't have the time or funding for that, let's show them it's free. Like, let's take a minute of a week to think about the question, how can I add a culture to this next week? Every Monday, let's think, okay, I'll play a song during the nap time for the kids, or when I'm picking the kids from the school, let's do a karaoke booth in there. Let's sing karaoke car ride, or with youth work. Okay, today, everybody let's paint a picture about the week that we're gonna have, and just push it forwards and show that it's accessible and that culture is useful, and show the benefits to all the people who are deciding about the funding. Because now, even though it sucks that we have been getting a lot of cuts in our fundings, and we have been yelling about it, it's not correct, you should not do that, it's so stupid. But I think we have to push forward and show that it's worth the time and the money, and the culture will help everybody. Then your customers, yourself, your bosses, the government, the whole country of Finland, Europe, the whole world. Nobody is losing when we're using culture. Nobody. So it's so stupid to not do it.
And also I think doing together things, not only looking for this own place and how much it costs, or something that can be do together, and it's better. It's working.
Yeah, and also I think we should share what we already know, because I know a lot, you know a lot, you know a lot, everybody, we know a lot, so I think we should share, like, using internet, for example, we can post about our work, like, of course there's different things you cannot post about your work, but like, hey, today we went for a music walk, we tried to find different sounds of the nature that sounds like music to our ear, or we saw a leaf dancing and it reminded me of this type of dance or something. Like, we can talk about it and spread the awareness, even if somebody doesn't have the education or the money, or for some reason cannot get the education. We can spread it to online or offline.
I think it's a great point, because I've been thinking about rather big activities, like something pre-organized or something like that, but you made me realize it's also about little things, like very small activities, very small even gestures, and they can already make difference. If you turn it into, I don't know, a weekly thing, that on Mondays we do that and on Tuesday we do that, like a simple song or I don't know, a poem or whatever little experiment, it can already make a difference.
Yeah, to show an example of themselves, we would be, for example, on October, there's this thing called October, that every day you have a different topic that everybody will have to draw or take a photo or something like that. So to give some kind of little assignments, and then you can post your own work there, and people will really happy about it. So it doesn't have to be a really big thing, but give also an example that I'm doing this, you can do it too.
Well, speaking about the possible cuts in arts and culture generally, could there be some severe consequences if such cuts, large or small, would be done completely? Like, what would it mean to new generation of youth, or even ones that are currently enjoying the culture and art? What could it mean to them and the future of regions or in countries that do want to make cuts in the form of art and culture?
Well, I personally probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for culture and different types of art. I have suffered a lot through my life. There's many hard topics that I wanted to talk about to people. I didn't know where to get help. My parents weren't capable of talking to me about these things. There was nobody to help me. So art was my way of going through these emotions. And when I was a teenager, I joined a theater group, and there was this amazing instructor, actually 2 of them, and they helped me a lot, even though we didn't speak about, hey, I personally feel like this. We worked as a whole group and as a community to ask everybody, how are you feeling? If somebody wasn't feeling too good, we talked about it, and we worked through our emotions and life in general through the art of theater. And I know that many of the people in that group also struggled a lot, and that one theater group for 1 year was probably enough to save another life, and mine too. So it could be deadly if we got too much to be straight.
Yes, it's not always possible, but if you really want to, you find a way. If you really hard want to do something, or you find a way, but it's not possible for everybody. But I personally, I don't can live without music or many cultural things.
Yeah, I understand that not necessarily everybody is so obsessed with culture and us, so it's hard for me to talk for them, but I think because everybody consumes culture in some ways, so the cuts or if the possibilities to expose people to culture will be and are being cutting down, it's, as you said, it could be deadly.
I can relate to that because in the town I lived in, when I was a teenager, we had a culture house, and it wasn't a space we could hang out in daily. That was the thing that I was missing. But for example, we had art classes there, and we didn't even have a real group. It was only me and my best friend, and we had the possibility to go to an art room, and we had a teacher, and we could work together. We could meet every week, and we could express ourselves in the time when we needed it the most. So it was also very, very important to me to have that place and that classes. And I can imagine that it's very similar to many people here. Like, for example, the art and craft classes we have in my youth center in Monde. I can see a lot of kids coming there regularly, and I can imagine it means a lot to them to meet their friends every week, to do some crazy stuff and be just creative and not caring too much about being perfect and creating something perfect, just enjoying their time. I can imagine that cutting that would really cause some damage.
so I think we're starting to near the end of our discussion. We could slowly start to move to what did you think of the discussion? What did it make you feel? What thoughts rose up in your mind? What are you going to take home from this discussion? Or maybe what are you going to use in your day-to-day life that you've learned? You can think about that for a minute.
Well, for me, I already thought about it a bit, and for me it has been really kind of like see the connection that I think we all come a bit of a similar backgrounds, and we've all experienced the power of culture, music, art, and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of really, I'm happy to see that what kind of connection this small thing can make to different people, different ages and different backgrounds.
Yeah, it's nothing like it's hard to name it, but it's a really warm and nice feeling that we work in different fields. Like now I work in youth services, but it's not my original profession, and we are people of different age and different professions, different fields. But I can see how much culture and art means to all of us, and that it basically saved some lives here. And it's something really inspiring, and I think this is what I will take home, the inspiration to cultivate it even more when I get back to Rovaniemi, when I will get back to work in my youth center.
Well, I think I'm bringing home hope, because for the last few years it has been quite sad reading the news about culture and cutting away from it. And at some point I felt like going numb about it because it felt like nobody cared. But I know that even if they cut, there are still people who will do their best and everything they can to bring out good in this world in form of culture. And yeah, I'm really grateful, and that's also something that I'm bringing home from here.
I'm glad I came here, and I'm glad to notice that even what age you are, you can think like same thoughts about culture, and maybe it's timeless thing. And the start rap was very nice. I like it very much.
And the part of the inspiration is also like thinking about little things, like trying to be creative and come up with some ideas that don't necessarily need to be something huge, like little simple steps to inspire the youngsters around us.
That was really great. Thank you. We want to thank you from part of Nuori Kulttuuri for coming, and you did really good. We're happy to discuss more of this kind of more formal set if you feel like it. We have time.
Thank you for having me, and that's been fun.
I wanted to ask what you would bring home from this discussion. I know you're the organizers, you're asking the questions, but maybe you also got inspired.
Well, that was a good question. It's very hard to say right now. There's so much to do and so much to think about. But I would say that I usually think about that even if those cuts would be done, they will still find ways to really explore art and culture. So I thought that culture is just maybe some kinds of activities, maybe dance, maybe some kind of just music, but really art could be basically anything. It's the way you live, the way you look at things, even your current mood could be also culture. So it's not only limited to something that could be material, it's also something that could be felt on emotional level. That's what I'll be bringing home from this conversation.
I think I'm going to be bringing home hope. This is the third time that I've been discussing this sort of same kind of subject, and every time I think there's some hope. And this time as well, there is some hope. And I really, really hope that everything's going to turn out okay, even though it doesn't look like it right now. And I think I'm going to need a few days to fully process everything, but I think I have some good ideas to utilize in maybe some projects.
And also some of the most powerful and beautiful pieces of art and culture have come from suffering, so we don't know what this will bring. Maybe we have new Picassos or something in here. So, and also I want to thank you. You both did a really good job as well, so thank you for that.
What also came to my mind is the volunteering thing, because this is actually what I do, and I've been thinking that if there are people who have something to offer, and we all have something to offer, but if we have like some idea, something that we want to share, I would really encourage everyone to try working as a volunteer, either abroad or in your home country. I don't know how does it work in your home country, but going somewhere to a new place and sharing your ideas could be like a great inspiration for the community there. So this is the basic idea of volunteering somewhere, and I should remember about it more and inspired to give even a bit more from myself to the community I live in currently. So I will try my best to do that. So thank you guys for having me here and giving me that inspiration.
I was thinking what is the limits of the life and culture and art, if there is limits, so we can all be a part of life and culture and art.